What's going on, ladies and gents of Cyberland? So today I'm going to be doing a review on one of my favorite bands. A very special band to me with all the material they've come out with over the years. Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory. So the album came out in 2000, however I hadn't purchased it yet. And I was sitting in a Japanese class, and a guy I know, his name's, shout out to you, Richard. He had two, because at that time when I was in high school, I really would just, if I wasn't doing classwork, I would just listen to music. That was really what I love to do with my time. Just put my headphones on and just zone out and just listen to music, because that's one of my favorite things to do. And he had the Matrix soundtrack, so I asked if I could listen to it for a minute. I just wanted to check it out. And there were some good tunes on it. And of course, that was also my introduction to Deftones with the My Own Summer. And also, One Step Closer, I believe, was on there. Or maybe it wasn't. I forget. The point is, he also had Linkin Park. And I had already heard the One Step Closer song. However, I was just kind of on the fence about it because I didn't dislike it. However, I wasn't jumping up and down about it because I felt with the video, how the band was playing, I just got this eerie feeling like, is this going to be another Korn ripoff? Because at this time, Korn was flying high, and the record labels were trying to come out with bands that copied Korn because they figured, well, that'll get people to listen to buy our stuff, and it was really annoying. And when I saw the Linkin Park video, I just got this feeling like, is this what the album's going to be like? It just felt like, is it going to be very similar to Korn? And then, of course, knowing what I know now, Deftones. And right when I hear the first track, Papercut, I loved it. It was different. It didn't have a Rage Against... It had a Rage Against the Machine vibe, but not a full Rage Against the Machine vibe. It was nice to hear hip-hop mixed with rock. I always like that element. I always feel that's a great element to do. And hearing Mike and how Joe was on the turntables with the song and Chester with the singing and the lyricism and stuff, I was like, okay. Got through the majority of the album while we were in class, and I think I told Richard I'm going to go buy this album. And I went to Borders. Borders, of course, is now defunct. Went out of business a few years ago, but when I bought the album, I went to Borders bookstore and got home, and I don't think I really listened to the album in full effect until there was something I had to do with my room. I remember my mom told me I had to do something. I think it was something, but I had to reorganize or something. And I put that on my CD, boombox, whatever you want to call it. And I listened to the album multiple times, and it did grab me. And it was refreshing, especially hearing Cure for the Itch. I hadn't heard a track like that in a while. And some people say, well, that's just a DJ. Well, the point is to have that mixed in with the rock album. I hadn't heard anything up until that point. And that could be claimed ignorance on my part because, I'm only in high school, so I haven't heard a lot of great music. I find a few gems here and there at the time. And it was interesting because at that time, One Step Closer was the only song that had been released. There hadn't been... Papercut wasn't out yet. In the End wasn't out yet. And neither was Crawling. And the album was getting steam. It was trudging along. It was starting to sell, but it took a little while. So when I heard it, I never anticipated that it was going to blow up like it did. I'm still, to this day, it's very interesting looking back on how many units it actually sold and stuff. That's pretty interesting for a debut. And it was a great album. My rating for it, I would give it 5 out of 5 yes sirs. There's not one song on... Well, you know what? I think back then I didn't like Forgotten. I just didn't... I didn't mind the lyrics. I didn't mind the playing. I just didn't like the chorus kicking out for the beginning of the song. I was like, ugh, I don't like that. However, I have respect for it now because the lyrics and such and how the song goes. And it was different. My top 5 songs, of course, is Points of Authority. I always want to Papercut, One Step Closer. In the End, and By Myself. Those are my top 5. looking back on it now, it's now my play on a regular basis. It is, and I'll get to this commentary probably real later. It does have a lot of foreshadowing of what was going to what transpired with Chester many years later. However, it's a very special album to me, and I'm glad I was able to, because most of the bands I'm really fans of, I never was part of that wave of when the band was like, you know, all over the place. I've always came in way later after the fact, so I was never in that zone. So this was one of the few times where I was, and it was interesting. I mean, American Idiot was one of the other ones, but it was just interesting to see how many people were playing them, how many people were interested in them and stuff. So yeah, with that being said, we'll just cue the music.
You love the things I say I'll do. The way I hurt myself again